Hello, my name is Stella Eneyang, your Queen of Talk, and I welcome you to another edition of the program, Tango with ST. Today, we're going to talk about coercive control. Coercive control, as defined by the Women Aid Organization, is an act or a pattern of acts, of threats, of assault that is used by the controller to punish, humiliate, or put the victim into fear. A good number of lovers of entertainment all over the world are aware that recently the renowned R&B singer Robert Sylvester Kelly, known as R. Kelly, was recently charged with sex offenses. This is what has inspired today's topic of coercive control. In the past, there have been interviews where some of the victims used to say had really talked about the offenses, the sex offenses that R. Kelly had inflicted on them. Also, there was a previous interview that one of the girlfriends, Miss Israel Clary, said that some of those other victims were not saying the right thing, that R. Kelly was not involved in such acts. Until recently, just after R. Kelly was charged with these offenses by the federal court, Miss Israel had another interview again where she told the interviewer that she was actually coached on what to say by R. Kelly in the previous interviews.
When we first met Azriel Clary in March of 2019, she had been living with R. Kelly for almost 5 years and was one of his fiercest supporters.
Because you guys don't know the truth. You guys are believing some facade that our parents are saying. This is all lies for money.
Clary and another woman, Joycelyn Savage, told us then that they were in a relationship with the embattled R&B singer. But Clary left the apartment she shared with Kelly in Chicago 7 months after our interview.
Before that interview, he had us practicing every single day.
Practicing what?
Answering questions. And if he didn't like our answer, he would tell us exactly what to say and how to say it. Anytime you mention anything about sexual preference, we already know to say, I'm not here to talk about that. Because that's what he told us to say every single time.
And that's exactly what you said.
First of all, I'm not here to talk about my personal life, and I would never share with no one what I do in or outside of the bedroom.
So when the interview was over and you all go back to his apartment, the three of you, what is the conversation?
He was so happy.
The thing about a controlling person is that they put you in that position where you have invisible chains that will make it difficult for you to want to break out. During the recent interview, the interviewer asked Miss Clary, was there anything that anyone would have done to make it easier for you to break free? And her response was no, there was nothing that anyone would have done, because at that point in time, she felt it was kind of difficult for her to break out of the situation.
What do you think anybody could have said or done to help you leave the situation sooner?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I feel like that is something that I would have had to had woken up from myself, something that I would have had to realize on myself. And a lot of people don't realize with victims, the more you try to help them, the more it upsets them sometimes.
There are a lot of people out there who are controlling, who are strong controllers of people. You would not know a victim may be in a situation, but will find it difficult to break free. I'll say that again. When a victim is in a coercively controlled relationship, these chains make the person so dependent on the perpetrator that he or she finds it difficult to break out of that relationship, that situation, because they'll feel like there's no life outside of that relationship.
He did his interview first.
I didn't do this stuff. This is not me. I'm fighting for my life. Y'all killing me with this.
What did he think about how he came across in the interview?
Truthfully, I think he believed that he had done well.
Some common signs. A lot of people are in such relationships, and if you know anyone and anybody who is in that kind of relationship, the prayer is that the person will be able to break and set himself or herself free from that relationship, because a large number of the times they wouldn't listen to anybody who would want to set them free. Some common signs of controlling relationships are: a perpetrator would want to isolate you from friends and families. You know, when they do all of that, it enables the perpetrator make you dependent on him or her, because your friends and family would want to tell you the truth, and he or she wouldn't want them to be in contact with you all the time, because being in contact with you may enable you break away from that relationship. A perpetrator deprives their victims of basic needs such as food and even the use of amenities like going to the toilet, when to eat, when to wake up, when to do certain things. These are some of the things that R. Kelly's victims said he allegedly put them through.
He was very good at manipulating a situation, so even if he knew or not, he would basically say, he could come in this room right now and he would say, you know, I've already spoken to Joy. She already told me exactly what you guys have been talking about. You have 5 minutes to be honest, or you're going to be thrown around this entire room.
The perpetrator will monitor your time. What time to wake up, what time to sleep. Also, the perpetrator would want to monitor your social media activities, what you do on social media, and who you talk to, who you shouldn't talk to, who you're talking to, who you're dealing with. The perpetrator does that. So if you're in a relationship where someone monitors all of this, like what I have mentioned before, what time, wherever you go to, he wants to know, separate you from your family and friends, wouldn't want you to keep friends. If you go out, you have to be here at a specific time. When you say you're going somewhere, the perpetrator most of the time would want to keep calling you. I watched a movie some years ago, and there was this man who was monitoring the wife everywhere she went. Whatever she wanted to do, he would want to be aware. How she spends her money. I've had a colleague like that who was in that kind of situation. She couldn't buy anything for herself. She gets her salary. There's a man that decides how she spends it. She's scared of even buying something as little as 5,000 naira for herself. In this movie, the man would ask the wife, where are you? If she says she's at home, he now says, go and bring the blender and blend something. He would want to hear it. And so what did she do? She got tired of his monitoring activities. So whenever she wanted to go out, she takes the blender or takes something along. So when he says, blend something, she runs to the nearest place and puts on the blender and blends. You know, those are signs of a perpetrator. Also, the perpetrator can decide on what time you will go to bed. And also, if he decides, you know of course that if he or she decides on what time you go to bed, he can also decide what time you wake up. He decides on what you put on, how you put it on. The perpetrator is just a controlling freak. Decides on what you eat and what time you eat. These are some of the things that the perpetrator does. These are some of the things that the perpetrator does. You just have to know that when you are in a coercive, controlling relationship, these are some of the signs. And once you get it, the best thing is for you to flee. And if you have relatives, you have teenagers, you have friends who are in this kind of relationship, the best thing is for you to get the person out of that relationship, no matter what you have to do.
Everything that we were living in had become very normal. And I had to break out of that. I had to realize that this is actually abnormal.
The sad thing about life is guilty pleasures can make a man or a woman fall from high up there and down here just by the click of the finger. Sometimes it takes discipline to stay focused. With all of the things that he has achieved, he has lost so much now, to the extent that even YouTube has suspended 2 of his channels that had over almost 6 million subscribers. 2 of his YouTube channels. You can imagine if I had that kind of followership on YouTube. Wow, I would want to keep it with everything that I've got. This topic is to encourage people who are in coercively controlling relationships to get out. But sadly, the beautiful songwriter that we have loved all these years, according to reports, is going to find himself facing 10 years to life imprisonment come May 2022. My heart goes out to all of the victims who have come out to talk about their experiences with R. Kelly, including his wife, Andrea.
Well, I sit in a very difficult place because unlike the rest of his victims, I also share children with him. I was married to him, so I wear 2 hats. I wear the hat of a survivor and an advocate, but I also wear the hat of a mother and an ex-wife. So it's very difficult for me. I feel that my heart is in 2 places. My heart definitely goes out to the survivors and the courage that it takes to even come forward and tell the story. But my heart breaks as a mother because this is now the legacy that my children will have to deal with and their children's children. At the end of the day, you cannot walk away from your bloodline.
And Clary, Miss Clary, and all of the others, I hope that they will have the time to get better. And also, we're hoping that this will be a lesson to many others who are involved in this kind of acts. The time to stop before they are caught. Also, to any others who find themselves in coercive, controlling relationships, I pray that you'll be able to get out of them. My name is Stella, the Queen of Talk. I hope you've learned 1 or 2 things from this episode. So, what are your thoughts on the recent charge against R. Kelly and your thoughts on the topic? Don't forget to smash that like button, leave a comment below, and we'll be sure to respond as soon as we can. Thank you for watching. Bye.